Hey friends, Keith and Christy with you, and welcome to September's Be Monthly show, and we are glad you guys are here. First of all, there's some things going on. So our Facebook account got hacked, and so you might not be able to see this show until maybe October. Who knows? We are working on it. We have all kinds of people working on that now, but we have been down for the last 4 weeks. And it's frustrating as ever, because when you have 28,000 people who follow you on Facebook, when you have people in 47 different states and 13 different countries around the world, it's frustrating to us because Facebook's very important to the magazine. And so real quick, let's just premiere the magazine while we're here, because that's why we're here. Here is the September issue, and it's on Muskogee Creek Nation. And for the last 5 years, every September, we have done a Native American issue. Our first was the Osage right over there. We've done the Cherokee, we've done the Choctaw, we did the Delaware, and now we did Muskogee Creek Nation. This will be our last Native American issue, I'm sorry to say. We've enjoyed doing it, but it's really hard. It's really hard working with our friends in different tribes and different places in the state, because we go to print every 3 weeks, and sometimes we don't get a lot of help from the tribes as much as we need it. So anyway, this will be our last issue of the Native American tribes, and we've really enjoyed it. We met some great people. Learned a lot. Learned a lot about our brothers and sisters, and probably my favorite was a Cherokee. We got to meet with Chuck Hoskins there, Chief Chuck Hoskins, and
that was during COVID.
That was during COVID.
We've had all sorts of things.
We have. So anyway, you're going to love the story. And they actually they're called the first, because they were really one of the first tribes in America. They were in the United States before we even were a thought America was. So great story. And we only have one guest today. Because when you have this gentleman on your show, you don't need any more guests. That guest today will be Mr. Bob Fraser. Our good friend Bob Fraser is going to be here to talk about his new book that he has out, and we actually have him in the magazine talking about it. And actually, this is Bob's magazine this month, because he's in here twice. He did my good word. Here's Bob right here. Frankly Speaking is the book's name, and this is what he did. And of course, he's right there with the good word, and he's got a lot of knowledge. Of course, you guys know Bob was at Woolaroc for almost 16 years, and a really good friend. And he led us to a lot of stuff out there at Woolaroc and the Frank Phillips Mansion. With some of our most popular videos we've ever done was at Woolaroc in the mansion. So I can't wait to interview him. It's going to be a great interview. So anyway. So for now, all of our stuff's going to be put on Instagram, and we're going to put it on YouTube. So
Josh will link our links for both of those, and you can click over and maybe notice something you never experienced before. YouTube will be easier for everybody. Some people might not have Instagram, but Josh, can't they just get to YouTube if they, just click the link?
And subscribe to Be Monthly Magazine there on YouTube.
And I'll start putting more stuff out there.
And we've got a lot of videos. We've had over 1 million people who have watched our videos over the last 6 years, and we're pretty proud of that. But even though we didn't have Facebook this month, and we'll show this show later on when we get our Facebook back up, this is our 57th show, and I was not going to let somebody out there in the world who hacked us tell me that we can't do our 57th show. So we're doing it, and whether you like it or not. So
thank goodness for YouTube and Instagram. Were you just going to loop it on a VCR or something?
And hey, Facebook, you own Instagram, okay? Give me my Facebook back, okay? So anyway, okay, so September issue, obviously the Native American issue, Muskogee Creek. You guys are going to love this. Of course, Sarah Gagan wrote this story, and it's great about being the first. I mean, they also had the code talkers there in World War II, which was a great story about them. There's a lot of stuff going on in September. Obviously, one of our most favorite things to do throughout the year is Cow Thieves and Outlaws, which is at Woolaroc. And that'll be coming up at the end of September. which is our favorite party. And hopefully Bob will be out there this year. He wasn't out there last year. And I want to talk about that real quick. So we have a solar eclipse coming up in October. Josh will put that out there too. And Andrew over there at PDG, he'll be on our show in October to talk about that. But we've got this eclipse won't happen again. Next year will be a full eclipse. This one's about 95%. So.
And we got some of those glasses the other day.
I wish I would have brought mine to wear mine.
I had them on, and I was right up to your car's dark, and I was right up to the headlights. Could not see a thing.
Couldn't see one thing.
Craziest thing. I don't know how these work.
They are. They're better than. I want to talk about that real quick. The chief of the Muskogee Creek, David Hill, great guy right there. Good story on him, and. You guys are going to love what the Muskogee Creek people have done down there, and I love this cover too. When you look at this cover, always love doing the covers, but this is the actual map of Oklahoma before we were a state, and right there in the middle of the B, Tulsa, right there, Tulsa, and so I love doing that. Love doing the covers. Oh, I want to talk about this because my mom was the biggest Elvis fan, period. And I remember in 1977 when Elvis died, I was 8 years old, and I remember sitting there on the floor and my mom was bawling like she just had lost her mom or dad. I mean, she was crying uncontrollably when she found out that Elvis passed away. So I had Kay Little, if I can find it real quick, let me just go to the first. I had Kay Little write this story. You guys are going to love this story. It is amazing. So here it is right here. He is related to, his great-grandmother was a full-blooded Cherokee, and her name was Mourning Dove. And that is, you guys are going to love this story. It is so cool. So cool. I love that. And what else you want to talk about real quick? Because I don't want to spend a lot of time on us because we got Mr. Bob Fraser here. Hey, go to the calendar. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Of course, school started. All the sports going on. Volleyball, softball, football's going on right now. The football boys are just this close. We've lost the last 2 games by this much, and we are rooting for them. We'll be going to Collinsville this weekend, tomorrow, Friday. Let's see real quick. Oh, let's talk about that real quick. You want to talk about that?
We had one of our high school classmates contact us, and
well, you went to school with him when you were in middle school.
Oh, that's right, 7th grade. Actually, I have a picture.
We're going to give that to Josh so he can put it up.
It is the most tragic picture of me I've ever seen. I look like I'm chewing tobacco. I don't know what's happening, and I'm in a formal dress.
What are you
I don't know
wearing?
why. We dressed up on the last day of school. We wore formal dresses. Okay. I don't know why. And I don't know why he and I are standing so close. But anyway.
You didn't date?
No, but he was just a great guy. He came to Bartlesville. He came here. This church right over here,
right behind us,
gave money, Presbyterian, for his family to be able to come and stay here and live here and have jobs here. And they were refugees, and all the things they saw. We'll put the book up so you can see it, and you can order it on Amazon. But anyway, he's a dear friend. You need to get the book. It's amazing what he went through. I just thought he was the quiet, shy type. I didn't know he didn't speak English. But he learned English when he got to Bartlesville by watching Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Three's Company, and OU football.
Yes.
Anyway, I guess that's all you need.
And his name's Winston Bowie.
Winston. He's brilliant.
Brilliant guy.
He's gone on to do great things, and we hope to have him on the show sometime.
Yeah, we're going to have him on the show. He travels the world and talks about his story, and also helps out a lot of people in a lot of different parts of the poorest parts of the world that you can go to. So great guy. We love him. And yeah, real quick, we just had our 36th high school reunion, and a couple weeks ago.
It was great.
It was great.
Almost 200 people came back, which is kind of unheard of for 36.
Yeah.
Odd.
We didn't do 35 because of COVID, and COVID's trying to step back up and do something, but it's not going to do anything for us. So anyway, I also always want to remind you guys, you know, read the up front every month, because every month I write the up front I do a lot of stuff personally about what we're going through, putting the magazine together, what it takes to put this thing together. So anyway, I think that's about it, because I want to bring out Bob Fraser out here. So go get your magazines, guys. They're out everywhere right now. Get them before they're all gone. So okay, let's bring out one of our best friends. One of the we just love this guy dearly, and his name's Bob Fraser. So let's bring Bob out. Guys, we are back, and boom, look who we have here, Mr. Bob Fraser. Bob, how are you, my friend?
Very, very good, Miss Christie.
Well, I tell you, we've done more videos with Bob than anybody else.
I keep telling you guys, you need to set your bar higher. I'm available. That's just it. Call Bob.
Call Bob. And that's kind of what I did in the magazine with the Good Word this month. I said, I don't have anybody for the Good Word, and I called Bob and said, hey Bob, can you do the Good Word for me this month? And he goes, yeah, when do you need it? I said, tomorrow. He goes, you got it.
And we got it earlier.
And you got it earlier, and what a great story that was.
If only everybody worked like Bob.
Yeah. And Bob's our only guest today, because you don't need any other guest when you have Bob Fraser, because we've got more stories with Bob, us personally, and then of course Bob working at the Woolaroc for over 15 years, CEO. Yep. CEO of the Frank Phillips Foundation out there, also the Frank Phillips Mansion, and
in his
new book, which we're going to talk about. So there it is, Frankly Speaking.
Josh will show it better.
Yes.
He'll block me doing this and show it for real.
It's kind of a 3D look here.
Yeah, I like that.
So Bob, let's talk about this first, and we'll talk about all the other stuff we got going on and we've done with you too. So tell us about Frankly Speaking.
Well, for 15 years, I'd be telling those stories, and people would always say, you know, is anybody writing these things down? Mm-hmm. And it would frustrate me to death, because I'd say, no, how about you just remember it? You know, I mean, listen to what I'm saying and kind of capture it a little bit. Well, people don't want to do that. And so it was really easy to do, because I just had to put in print what I've been saying for those 16 years.
So long.
And you know, to me, it's more than just a book of neat stories. I say it all the time, but you know, everybody that lives in Bartlesville has a piece of Frank's DNA.
Yes. And
he's such a vital part. He is the reason we're here. I dare say that if you know, that chance encounter that he had in St. Louis at the World's Fair that brought him here in the early 1900s, you know, if that doesn't happen, Bartlesville would be here, but we'd be a sleepy little burg of 3,000 people.
Yep.
Phillips wouldn't have been here.
Nope.
Why would it?
Nope.
So I just think it's important stories, and as I've told you all before, you know, I would constantly hear. I'd be given a tour at the lodge, and there's that great painting of Will Rogers, and I'd have kids, and I'd ask, do you all know who this is? You know, no, they had no idea, and that wasn't unusual, and you know, I don't want the day to come when people say, Frank Phillips, who is that?
Who's that?
And as the company changes, and as things move more and more to Houston and less here, you know, that could happen.
Sure.
And so you know, I'm trying to do my part to make sure it doesn't happen. And I talk about it in the book. You know, one of the great thrills of those 16 years is getting to know Frank's grandson and granddaughter. And they're kids of, you know, about 85, 86 years old now, but you know, I still talk to them on a regular basis. But you know, they are sort of the last voice of first-person knowledge of Frank and Jane. And I think that's why I love just sitting down talking to them so much. Is that, you know, they're not telling stories like I tell them. They're telling first-hand stories. Yeah. When they say grandfather did this, I'm like, wow, he's talking about Frank.
You were there.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been a fun deal.
Well, a lot of things. I mean, we've done a video. We did a video on Woolaroc a few years ago, probably about 5 years ago, which is our most viewed video. Over 40,000 people have watched that video, and then we did one on the mansion too. But what I always loved
you
about
love getting that there.
Oh gosh, scared me to death.
Bob doesn't like heights. So he would have never went on top of the water tower when we did that shot.
I was supposed to say that we did that. Never mind.
Bob didn't know about that at first.
I'm 5'5". I don't do heights. You know, I mean. No, I drove into the ranch that day and I saw people on top of the water tower. I'm like, that's unusual. I didn't know we were doing work on it.
In heels.
Yeah, and I don't know how Keith got up there in heels.
I don't either. I don't either. So, I mean, of course, there's hundreds and hundreds of stories of Frank, but give me two of your most favorite stories.
No, maybe your favorite, and then maybe like your crowd favorite. Do you think? I know what my favorite is.
Well, my favorite probably would be Elliott Roosevelt, because there's so much backstory to it. Frank was not a fan of Franklin Roosevelt, President Roosevelt's New Deal and all that. It was way too liberal for Frank Phillips, and Roosevelt's son Elliott was an avid hunter, a very good hunter, and somehow the word got to Frank that Elliott wanted to hunt a buffalo. He wanted to come to Woolaroc, hunt a buffalo. Frank quickly said, "There's no way I'm going to have a Roosevelt on the ranch." Somebody in his inner circle finally convinced him that, for political reasons, it really makes sense. We probably ought to let him come. So he does. He extends the invitation. Elliott Roosevelt shows up at the front gate. He's met by Frank and Frank's ranch manager, Griff Graham, and several of the ranch hands. And off they go to find the herd. Frank gives Elliott the rifle, and here comes the herd, and there's a bull that goes by, and Elliott takes aim and fires and misses.
Gosh.
And you can't believe he missed, and so they round him up again, bring him back again, he fires again, he misses.
Okay, was it yeah.
He's humiliated in front of Frank, in front of Griff Graham, in front of the ranch hands. I can't hit a friggin' buffalo
30 feet away.
Yeah, I mean, what? So Griff Graham grabs the rifle from him and he goes, "What in the world are you doing?" Takes aim, drops him on the spot. Boom, buffalo's down. Well, now his humiliation's even worse. And so back to the lodge they all go. They got a big lunch prepared. And Frank's sitting at the end of the table, and Elliott's down on the other end, and he's heads down and all that. Frank finally can't stand it any longer, dies laughing because he loaded the gun with 2 blanks. Part of it was Frank's sense of humor, but I think part of it was him gigging Elliott of, "I don't like your dad's politics."
Right.
Now the neat thing is that Elliott Roosevelt took it in such stride that they really developed a great friendship, and he came back 2 or 3 times after that, did more hunting out there, and they became friends of it. But anyway, I love the story.
I love that story. Yeah. I love that.
Now the best story though, the one that people enjoy the most is the card trick.
That's me. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell it real quick. We've done a video.
It helps to, well, we can pull that where we show the card. We
Yeah.
have a clip of that.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a party back in the early 30s. Harry Blackstone was sort of the David Copperfield of the day, and so Frank hired him to do tricks throughout the evening. And at the end of the night, he declared, he said, "I got one more trick." And he's standing right in front of the front doors of the lodge, and he calls Jane Phillips up, and he pulls out a brand new deck of cards, opens it, shuffles them, fans them out to Jane, says, "Take a card." She draws a card. He said, "Now show it to the crowd," and he does. Queen of Spades. She does. Put it back in the deck, puts it back, he shuffles and shuffles and shuffles. Then he spins around, throws that deck of cards against the wall, and 51 cards hit the ground. And the Queen of Spades stuck on the wall.
I love that story.
Now, people look at me like you're crazy telling that story, but the best part of it is that I was told that Dick Kane, Bob Kane's dad, who Dick Kane's father, John Kane, was Frank's attorney and right-hand man, especially in the early years of the company. And so Mr. Kane spent a lot of time at Woolaroc, Dick Kane. And I was told he was there at the Blackstone party. And so this was obviously several years ago, probably 10 years ago. And I went to Mr. Kane and I said, "I was told that you went to the Blackstone party. Is that true?" He said, "Yes." He said, "I was sitting on about the 6th step going up the," because he was about 9, 10 years old, and going up to the 2nd floor. And I said, "Okay, I'm going to tell you the story exactly how I tell guests, and then you can tell me if I'm right or wrong with it." And I told him just what I just said. And I said, "Is that correct?" And you can just hear him say it. He looked at me, he said, Indeed it is.
Indeed it is.
Wow.
So that's all I needed to
And
do.
the card's still there.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes.
It's amazing. Yeah. Amazing. You have to go, when you guys have to go to Woolaroc, you have to see that. It's amazing.
Yeah, just walk in the front door, turn around, look over your right shoulder, and there she is.
You know, one of the luxuries that we had when we were doing all the videos with you, Bob, is that we got to go behind the scene where a lot of people don't get to go to. And we got to go into the mausoleum.
No, that was wonderful.
Oh my gosh.
But now you can do that, right?
What's that?
Now you can do that.
Is it open?
Is it open to the public, the mausoleum?
Not that I know of.
Okay, I didn't know.
I don't think it
Unless
is.
Kevin-
But it used to be, years and years
Yes,
ago.
it was.
It felt like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
It
Yeah.
did. It did.
So
And I had Bob that video of opening up the doors.
Yes, that was fun.
But that
Well, now when they were building it, it really was like Raiders of the Lost Ark because the black snakes were all over that hillside, and those construction workers said they were just dropping, constantly dropping. So
No, that's, yeah. Ooh.
Okay, so so you've been retired now for a little bit over a year.
Yeah, almost 2.
Almost 2 years. So you wrote the book. Also, I think you have a show on YouTube or some kind of blog
podcast. Cutting the cards.
Cutting the cards.
We'll link that.
So
yeah, we'll link that to there.
It's great when you drive, except for your voice. Sometimes I'm like,
bores you to sleep.
no, you're just very calm, and I'm like, oh, but I love that you can just click on it. It's so easy.
Well,
and you can get all the stories.
Thank you. It's nice of you. John Kane was telling me that he was in the western part of the state, and he said he drove from their home, and he said, I listened to every one of your Cutting the Cards on the way, and I said, oh, bless your heart. My wife hadn't even done that. So anyway, but that was fun. And you know, not only did we tell a lot of Woolaroc stories and Frank Phillips Home, but we talked to John Kane, talked to Bob Pomeroy, Chuck McCauley, Blair Ellis, and so you kind of get some behind the scenes of community leaders and things that are going on. So that's been fun.
So go ahead.
Where can someone get the copy?
Signed copies are at Moxie's on 2nd,
Okay.
Bartlesville Museum, History Museum, Woolaroc Gift Shop, and the Frank Phillips Home.
Okay, nice.
Nice.
That's very good, easy places to get to.
And it's a great read. It's an easy read too. So
This would be a great gift, and all the children need it because so you can, like me, Grandma, I'm going to read these stories to all our kids because we don't want them to just think Frank Phillips is a street.
Exactly.
That is what we have to keep telling our kids.
That's a great.
Yeah, so we love
perfect
this.
little stocking stuffers come Christmas time.
And one of my favorite pictures of Frank right there too.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I love that picture. And Kevin took over after you left out there, and we're going to be working with Kevin next year because we're coming up on the 100th anniversary of Woolaroc. It's so cool.
And I want to take a second to leaving that job out there was difficult because I absolutely loved it. And
we were sad.
And
we were.
And when we started the process of trying to find my successor, I can't remember how many applications we had, but it was like 65 or 70. I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah.
And the board, along with my involvement, we narrowed that group down and made that decision that Kevin Hoke was going to be our choice. And you keep your fingers crossed that I hope this is the right decision that we're making here. And here it is almost 2 years later, and in my opinion, it was absolutely the right decision. I think his leadership has been great.
Yes.
He's done some things out there that I dreaded he might do, because when he did them, I'm like, God, I wished I'd done that. That's brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? But
because they're kind of making it more interactive.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, he's bringing, age-wise, he could bring some things to it in terms of the way he thinks, and that was just different than me, and that's what I hoped for.
Yes.
Somebody said to me after we hired him, they said, gosh, he's awfully young, isn't he? And I said, everybody seems young to me. I mean,
that is
not just him. But anyway, and I say it in the book, and it's not just trying to patronize them. That staff out there is absolutely second to none. Same at the Frank Phillips Home.
Yep.
But from the museum to the foundation office to the ranch hands to the landscape crew. I mean,
Well, look at the years that people's been out there. If you look at the average years, it's like with Don Tyler in the cement plant. I mean, the average years that people worked there was 26 years.
Yeah, yeah, and in fact, it's so amazing that it's almost a problem because, and Kevin and I've talked about it, the fact that there's a large group of people that are going to exit at about the same time.
Oh,
yeah,
and you know, it's we've been fortunate because Paula Blackwell, who runs the lodge and does such a great job. Her sister, the late Beth Green, who ran the gift shop. They grew up out there. Their parents worked at the front gate.
right, yeah.
Tim Swibothium, our shop carpenter, before he retired, his grandfather was Frank's first carpenter.
So crazy.
so he's the one that did all the frames, right?
Yeah,
all the wood frames.
And so you don't have to pull those people in and talk to them about this is why this place is important.
Right. Yeah.
They know it's important.
Yeah.
In fact, they're kind of keeping an eye on me, making sure that I realize how important it is. And so you don't ever want to lose that. And that'll be a real challenge for Kevin and to be able to get those people in place.
Well, before we end the show, where do you see Woolaroc? Where do you see Bartlesville and the Frank Phillips Home? Where do you see that in the next 10, 15 years? I mean, what your vision was, I know what your vision was, but what do you see that? Because Oklahoma is growing.
Yeah.
It's really growing right now.
Well, and where Bartlesville is 10, 15 years from now, hopefully that both the companies remain here and remain strong. I keep my fingers crossed that that maybe more departments get moved here.
Yes.
And I know we lose some. Well, that's okay. Let's get some back.
Yes.
I think David Wood has done a terrific job with the Bartlesville Development Authority in terms of bringing new industry into Bartlesville. And I think in terms of Woolaroc and the Frank Phillips Home, to me they just get better and better and better. And one thing the art show has done such a great job of doing is it really elevated us to a national level.
Yes.
And so I think that's something that was sort of an unexpected benefit. We were a jewel in Bartlesville and in Oklahoma. People used to say it's the best kept secret in Oklahoma. It just drove me crazy. I mean, I'm a marketing guy. Don't tell me that.
Because you work for Disney.
Yeah, that's right.
You
so, did. And it's just, it's one of those things that to me, Woolaroc has, there's no reason why it can't just continue to get better and better and better.
Yep.
And so I know that the board and Kevin has some big plans for the next decade, and it'll just be fun to be able to watch it happen.
It will be. And then they named what do they name that after you out there?
Oh, the Welcome Center.
The Welcome Center. Thank you.
Fraser Welcome Center.
Nice.
I go out there every once in a while just make sure the plaque's still up. Because
someone's out there peeling it off.
Well, this day and age of political correctness, you can come down. It's
just nice to see it when you're still alive.
Yeah,
like
thank you.
Mostly it happens when you're dead. I'm like, everything else happens when you die. So
I feel okay.
yeah, you're good. You look
Do you
great.
know something that I don't know?
You look great, and you already got your plaque.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Might as well check out.
No, you can't go
Well,
anywhere.
I deliver, we have like 154 different locations with the magazines, and I do about 10 of those, 150 something, and Woolaroc's one of them. Every month I just love driving. It's a great drive out there.
And you get out, and you go to the gift
I
shop, and you walk it in.
I take pictures, yes, I take the pictures of the animals out there. I just love that place out there. It's magic. It really is.
Absolutely.
When you go through those gates, and you see the old pictures of the old gates, you're like, all the people, all the famous people who drove through these gates is incredible.
And I think about even my great-grandfather. Like just knowing that he went, it's just fun.
And and again, the number of people that have gone through there. I mean, just when I was there, we had, I think I figured up just under 2 million guests that we had through there.
Wow.
Think about the people that we got to meet. From the movies that were out there, and nobody walks away from it going, well, it wasn't what I expected.
No.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. And is it a hidden jewel? Well, not quite as hidden as it used to be, thankfully. But it's something pretty special.
It's
absolutely.
A jewel, yes.
Well, the last thing we'll talk about is Cow Thieves and Outlaws, which you're the one who brought that back.
Well, as one of several, we had a great committee that made that happen. And you know, pardon my French, but I always refer to it as the best damn party in the state of Oklahoma, and it absolutely is.
It's our favorite.
And you know, 1,000 of my best friends out there partying it up. So I'm going to go this year.
Good. I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
okay.
But I promised Kevin I would not take my gun. And I didn't want to scene. So anyway, but we're looking forward to it.
Yes.
It's what, September 30th.
Yes.
And and what a great event.
It is.
You know, I've told you guys this before. Somebody said to me several years ago, they said, you know, it doesn't even feel like a fundraiser. And I said, that's perfect. That's the best compliment you can give me. But it has raised so much money, and we've been able to do so many improvements because of that party. And so it's a great thing.
Well, I know Kevin told me that they're on a big campaign right now to raise money for Woolaroc, and so that's part of it. But for the next year and a half or so, they're really pushing to raise money and get more people to come to Woolaroc, because you know everyone comes from, not just Bartlesville, but all over the states. Yeah, people from all over the world go to Woolaroc. Kind of like at the Price Tower where we're sitting right now. So, okay, my friend. Well, we could literally talk for the next 45 minutes, and we love this man right here. He's been a good friend. When we first started with the magazine, he was one of our biggest fans, and he helped us like nobody else, and we appreciate that.
Thanks.
You really did good for us, and we appreciate you.
I'm just glad we could do this here and not either on the water tower or on the top of Frank Phillips Home. I mean, it's so much more comfortable.
Oh, we forgot to tell you.
I can only fall a foot and a half here. See, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Well, my friend, we love you, and we appreciate everything you've done for this city.
Okay. My hands are always a little sweaty by the end of the year.
It's the pressure.
It is, yeah.
Well, we're going to go ahead and end the show, because Bob's our last guest, and the only guest, and you don't need anybody else but Bob Fraser when you have the show going on. So
don't forget.
Look,
you can find
get your
us
book.
4 locations. If you forget, rewind the video or just
get a hold of us. Reach out to us. We'll get you a copy. And guys, we'll get your September issue, because they're running out everywhere. Most places I go to now, they're out. So look, we appreciate you guys joining us. We love you guys. God bless, and we'll see you down the road.